Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's get started with plaintiff attorney. Start with the plaintiff attorney. Ready? Here we go. Can you please state and spell your name for the record? Mark Grath, M-A-R-K, capital G-R-A-T-H. Mr. Grath, have you ever had your deposition taken before? Yes. On how many occasions? Maybe 8. So you've had a few, more than a few. Do you remember when the last one was? How long ago? Yeah, it was probably maybe 4 or 5 months ago. It wasn't that long ago, but I think I'll just still briefly go over some of the admonitions for your benefit. I'm sure you've heard them before, but I'll just put them on the record, even though we are in the informal setting of my conference room here today. Your testimony is under oath, the same as if you were testifying in a court of law. You understand that? Yes, I do. The lady seated to your right, is our court reporter, and she's going to be taking down everything we say here today. So it is important that you speak in a loud, clear voice so she can hear you, and it is also important that you allow me to get my complete question out before you answer, and I'll allow you to answer my question before I go on to my next one, since she can only get down one of us talking at a time. Also, she can't take down slang such as or so try to avoid using that if possible. We're going to be talking about an incident that happened in February of 2006, so it's been some time, and you may not recall some of the information I'm going to be asking you for, but I am entitled to your best estimate. We don't, however, want you to guess at anything. Do you understand the difference between a guess and an estimate? Yes. Okay. If you don't understand one of my questions, let me know and I'll rephrase it. If you don't hear it, let me know and I'll go ahead and repeat it for you, okay? Okay. If you don't indicate otherwise, I'll assume that you've heard and understood it. If at any time you need a break, let me know and we'll go ahead and stop, but I don't really think we'll be here that long. We'll probably get through this pretty quickly. At the conclusion of your deposition, as you know, you're going to get a chance to review deposition testimony, which will be transcribed into booklet form such as this. Even though you can make changes, I do have to remind you that any substantive changes can be commented upon by counsel at the time of trial, and that could adversely affect your credibility. So with that in mind, we just ask that you kind of give us your best testimony here today, okay? I'll try. Have you had any drugs or alcohol in the past 24 hours? No. Have you reviewed any documents in preparation for your deposition here today? Yes. And what have you reviewed? We have OCFR's report, which is a computer-generated report. What did you call it? OCFR's. It's the Orange County Fire Incident Report, OCFR. Okay, and I also have with me a CAD report, computer-aided dispatch report, that gives me the times on the call and the type of call. And then our PCR, which is our pre-hospital care report, which is what we fill out at the time of the incident. So it sounds like there's 3 different types of reports here, yes. And so what I'm going to do is mark them all as separate exhibits. The OCFRs will mark as Exhibit 1. David, since you have that copy, I'm going to throw these down to you. Sure. Oops, sorry about that. That's fine. And then the CAD report will be Exhibit 2, and the PCR report will be Exhibit 3. Did you review any other documents in preparation for your deposition? No, but I talked to my partner, Bob Spinell, or my old partner, Bob Spinell, and I also consulted with a couple of the guys at the station that I ran the call with too. Okay, what other guys at the station did you consult with? Kevin Kinney and Joe Booth. They also responded to the call. Yes, you said Joe Booth, B-O-O-T-H-E. Okay, are Kevin and Joe paramedics or just firefighters? They're firefighters. Actually, Joe remembered the most about the call also. Okay, I'm going to definitely go over with you what it is that you guys discussed, but I just have a couple background questions first. Kevin and Joe would not have rendered any medical aid or treatment to the plaintiff. Is that correct? Yes, they would have. Oh, they would have. What kind of training do they have? Are they EMTs? They're EMTs, yes. Are their names anywhere on any of the 3 reports that we've just, yes, referred to? The OCFR's report, second page, Captain Sherwood, Engineer Joe Booth or Joseph Booth, and Firefighter Kevin Kinney are the members of Engine 5. Is there a difference between an engineer and a firefighter? Engineer is responsible for driving the engine and on fires, pumping fires. And who was the engineer? Joseph. Joe Booth, yes. And would Joe have rendered any care in this capacity as an engineer that night? He would have. And then Kevin was working as a firefighter and EMT, yes. And how about your captain? Did you say Jerry Sherwood was the captain? Yes, he was working overtime that day, so I haven't had a chance to talk to him. The only time that you would have talked to these other people that responded to the scene, strike that. That's a bad question. You mentioned that you talked to Kevin and Joe. That was because you had your deposition coming up. Yes. Is it generally your custom and practice or the custom and practice with the Orange County Fire Department to talk about incidents after you came back from a call for any particular reason. It's not customary, no, but you guys sometimes just talk about it, sometimes at the dinner table, okay, but it's not something that you sit down and you talk about it in conjunction with preparing any of your reports. Is that no? Okay, let me just backtrack a little bit. You're currently employed, is that correct? Yes. With the Orange County Fire Authority? Yes. How long have you been with them? A little over 8 years now. What is your current position there? I'm a firefighter paramedic at the time of the incident that we're going to be discussing in February of 2006. You were also a firefighter paramedic. Yes. How long have you been a firefighter paramedic for the Orange County Fire Authority? 7.5 years. What did you start off as? A firefighter. Okay, and then after about 6 months, they activated me. I was a paramedic before I was a firefighter. Got it. Okay. Are you currently assigned to a particular station, Station 5? And is that the same station you were with in February of 06? Yes. Can you just give me a brief description of what your duties as a firefighter paramedic are, focusing probably a little bit more on the paramedic aspect of it? Well, currently at Station 5, I work on a paramedic van which responds. They do respond to fires, but most of our call load is as a paramedic responding to medical aids, traffic accidents, any type of rescue situation in our area. And we provide, it's a little bit different with the Orange County Fire Authority because there's paramedics almost on every engine except for Engine 5 that is at our station. We respond with other engines that have paramedics, and they start paramedic care on a patient, and then we'll take it over and take the patient to the hospital. And as a paramedic working on an ambulance or a paramedic van, that is our role and responsibility, take the patients to the hospital if they need ALS, advanced life support intervention. So generally the engines without the paramedics on board are the first to respond. Engine 5 is at a station with a paramedic van, so they respond to the medical calls with the van. Okay, so they just assist us. I see. And then whoever, you guys usually get dispatched at the same time. Yes. Okay, but because we're on a van and we're more mobile, we cover 5 different stations around us as well. The paramedic van does. Yes. In this situation, or in this, with respect to this incident, do you know whether or not you would have responded at the same time as the engines were dispatched, or were you possibly attending to a different call? No, I believe we were dispatched at the same time, and that would be on the CAD report. Both Engine 5 and Medic 5 were dispatched at 1844 in the evening. Okay, can you just give me a brief rundown of your educational background, starting with where you went to high school? Went to high school at Laguna Beach High School, graduated in 85. I spent 2 years at Saddleback College with general education, and I got a 4-year degree at California Lutheran University, physical education major, and after that I got my Associate of Science degree in Fire Technology, another 2-year degree. I'm sorry, what was that last one? Fire Technology and Associate of Science degree, and that was Rancho Santiago College. Then I got my Emergency Medical Services Associate of Science degree from Saddleback College, and that included the paramedic program that I went through. It's a 6-month, 5-day-a-week program that Saddleback College offers. That's when I was licensed as a paramedic. And what year would that have been? That was 1997, I believe. And does that cover most of your educational background and training? Yes. Well, I've been through 2 fire academies, one from Rancho Santiago College and one through the Orange County Fire Authority. I worked 1.5 years as a paramedic at a private ambulance company, American Medical Response in San Bernardino. How long? About 1.5 years. And then I worked for a year for San Marcos as a paramedic firefighter before I went to the Orange County Fire Authority. All right, and then we've already touched a little bit on some of your work experience other than with the San Marcos. Is it San Marcos Fire Department? Yes. Other than San Marcos and Orange County Fire Authority, have you worked anywhere else as a firefighter or paramedic? And of course the AMR, just the American Medical Response. Okay. And I do have EMT experience working as a reserve firefighter for Orange County for 3 years and Laguna Beach Fire Department as a reserve for 5 years before I was hired. And then would you have held those positions as a reserve firefighter? 85 to 88, I worked for Orange County Fire Authority as a paid qualified firefighter, and 90 to 95 approximately, I worked as a reserve for Laguna Beach Fire Department. Any other work experience in those areas? No. All right, let's talk a little bit about the incident. You were working the night of February 18th, 2006, correct? Yes. Was there any particular shift that you were working that day? I'm A shift at Station 5. What shift? I'm sorry, A shift. A shift. There's an A, B, and C. Okay, what are the hours for A shift? We work 24-hour shifts, and it falls about 10 days a month throughout the year, and it is a different schedule. We have a set schedule for the next 5-10 years. We could figure it out, but it matches out so that we can figure out our schedules, but it's different days all the time. But they're all basically 24-hour shifts. They're 24-hour shifts. We start at 8 in the morning and work till 8 the next morning. So you were present, you got dispatched to the scene of this particular accident at 1844. Is that correct? Yes. We've already mentioned some of the other people that were there with you, Joe, Kevin, Jerry, and then Robert. Was anyone else working or anyone else respond to the call that night for the Orange County Fire Authority that you can recall? Not for Orange County Fire Authority. All right, that will conclude our Q&A practice.